December 20th, 1968. The air is freezing. It's the kind of cold that hurts your teeth. We are on Lake Herman Road, a lonely, twisted stretch of asphalt on the outskirts of Benicia, California. It's pitch black. No streetlights. Just the moon and the shadows. Inside a Rambler station wagon, the heater is fighting a losing battle against the winter chill. Two kids are sitting in the front seat. David Faraday, 17. Betty Lou Jensen, 16. This is their first date. Can you remember that feeling? The nervous sweat. The awkward silence. Trying to find the right words. David had promised Betty Lou's parents he'd have her home by 11 p.m. He's a good kid. An Eagle Scout. She is shy, quiet, wearing a purple dress with white collar. They are parked in a gravel turnout, known to the locals as a lover's lane. They think they are alone. They think the only thing watching them is the stars. But they are wrong. A car pulls up beside them. David probably looks up, squinting against the glare of the headlights. Maybe he thinks it's a cop. Maybe he thinks it's just another couple looking for privacy. He prepares an excuse. He checks his watch, but the other car doesn't turn off its lights. It sits there, idling, like a predator holding its breath. Then, the door opens. A figure steps out. We don't know his face. We never will. He is just a silhouette cut from the darkness. He isn't rushing. He walks toward the Rambler with a terrifying sense of purpose. He isn't holding a ticket book. He isn't holding a flashlight. In his hand, gleaming faintly in the moonlight, is a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol. David Faraday doesn't even have time to scream. The first shot isn't meant to kill. It's meant to terrify. The bullet shatters the rear window. The glass explodes into the back seat like diamonds. Panic. Absolute primal panic. Inside the car, the smell of cheap perfume is replaced by the smell of gunpowder. David shouts. Betty Lou is screaming. They are scrambling, fumbling for the door handles. They need to get out. They need to run. The figure moves to the side of the car. He is calm. He is mechanical. He shoots the rear tire. Pop. He shoots the front tire. Pop. He is boxing them in. He is trapping them like rats in a cage. David shouts at Betty Lou, "Get out. Run." They spill out of the passenger side door, stumbling onto the frozen gravel. This is their chance. The darkness is just a few feet away. If they can make it to the brush, they might disappear. But the shadow is faster. David Faraday, the Eagle Scout, tries to turn. Maybe to fight. Maybe to shield her. The gun barks. Once. Point blank. The bullet hits David behind the left ear. He drops instantly. He hits the dirt with a heavy, sickening thud. He isn't dead, but he is gone. Betty Lou is alone now. She runs. She runs toward the west, toward the open field. Her shoes crunch violently on the gravel. She has her back to the killer. She is 16 years old, and she is running for her life. She makes it 10 feet, then 20. She almost reaches the darkness. The killer tracks her with the precision of a machine. He doesn't spray and pray. He aims. 5 shots. 5 hits. The bullets tear through the back of her purple dress. The force knocks her forward. She falls face first onto the frozen earth, just 30 feet from the car. Silence returns to Lake Herman Road. The figure stands there for a moment, breathing the cold air, watching the steam rise from the bodies. He doesn't check their pockets. He doesn't take their wallets. He doesn't touch them. This wasn't a robbery. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was sport. He walks back to his car. The door slams shut. The engine revs. And just like that, the headlights sweep over the scene of the carnage one last time before disappearing into the night. Minutes later, a woman named Stella Borges drives past. She sees the station wagon. She sees the shattered glass. And then, her headlights catch the purple dress on the ground. She floors it. She drives to Benicia, honking her horn, flashing her lights, screaming for help. When the police arrive, the scene is surreal. The car engine is still warm. The radio is still playing low. David Faraday is still breathing ragged, wet gasps. He dies on the way to the hospital. Betty Lou is already gone. Detective Les Lundblad of the Solano County Sheriff's Office stands over the bodies. He is baffled. Usually, murder is simple. It's love, money, or anger. But this? 2 kids. No enemies. No stolen goods. No sexual assault. Just cold-blooded execution. The police scour the area. They find the shell casings. They interview the friends. They interrogate the local tough guys. But every lead turns to smoke. The killer left no fingerprints. He left no footprints that could be traced. He was a ghost. The winter of 1968 passed. The town of Benicia buried its children. The fear began to fade, just a little. People told themselves it was a one-off. A drifter. A psycho passing through who was long gone by now. They were wrong. 7 months went by. The silence of a grave. But the monster wasn't gone. He was just waiting. He was recharging. And he was getting ready to evolve. Because on July 4th, 1969, just a few miles away, the phone would ring at the Vallejo Police Department. And a voice, monotone, rehearsed, and utterly devoid of humanity, would say the words that would haunt the Bay Area for the next 50 years. Distant, distorted voice. I want to report a double murder. If you'll go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to a public park, you'll find the kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye. The nightmare had just begun. July 4th, 1969. Independence Day. While the rest of the country is looking up at the sky, watching fireworks bloom in red, white, and blue, a brown Corvair is parked in the shadows of the Blue Rock Springs Golf Course in Vallejo. Inside are Darlene Farron, 22, a popular waitress with a contagious smile, and Michael Mageau, 19. They're just friends. Maybe something more. It doesn't matter, because they're sitting in a trap. It is just past midnight. The air is thick with the smell of sulfur from the fireworks and the damp heat of a California summer. Another car enters the lot. It doesn't park a few spots away. It pulls up directly behind them. Close. Aggressive. Michael looks in the rearview mirror. Who is that? The car sits there for a moment. Then it roars to life and peels away. Michael and Darlene laugh it off. Just kids, they think. Just someone messing around. But 5 minutes later, the car comes back. This time it parks to the right. The passenger side. A man steps out. He is holding a flashlight. A blindingly bright beam cuts through the darkness, shining directly into Michael and Darlene's eyes. They squint. They raise their hands to shield their faces. It must be a cop, Michael says. He reaches for his wallet to show ID. He thinks they're being busted for parking after hours. The man walks up to the window. He doesn't say license and registration. He doesn't say a word. The flashlight is a trick. It's a targeting system. While they are blinded by the light, the stranger opens fire with a 9mm Luger. Michael takes the first hit. The bullet punches through his neck. He screams, thrashing in the small seat. Darlene is hit next. Arms. Torso. The car fills with smoke and a metallic tang of blood. The shooter turns to walk away. The job is done. But then, Michael Mageau moans. A sound of pure agony. The killer hears it. He stops. He turns back. He isn't satisfied. He wants silence. He walks back to the car, leans casually into the window, and fires 2 more shots into each of them. Execution style. Only then does he walk away. He drives off into the night, blending in with the teenagers and the fireworks. Darlene Farron dies before she reaches the hospital. But Michael Mageau survives. And he has seen the face of the devil. A heavy-set man, he whispers to the police. Short hair, glasses, no mask. It's a lead, a face. But the killer is already 2 steps ahead. 40 minutes later, Nancy Slover, the dispatcher at the Vallejo PD, picks up the phone. The voice on the other end is soft, almost polite, but there is a coldness to it that makes the hair on her arms stand up. I want to report a double murder. He gives the location. He claims credit for the attack on David and Betty Lou from the year before. And then he hangs up. The police trace the call. It came from a phone booth right outside the police station, just a few blocks from where the detectives were scrambling. He wasn't running away. He was watching them. July 31st, 1969. The San Francisco Chronicle. The San Francisco Examiner. The Vallejo Times-Herald. The mailroom clerks are sorting through the morning delivery when they find 3 identical envelopes. The handwriting is strange. Felt-tip pen. Sloppy. Childish. The letters are slanted, pressed hard into the paper. The editors open them. They expect a crank letter. A prank. What they find freezes the blood in their veins. Dear editor, this is the murderer of the 2 teenagers' last Christ Mass at Lake Herman. The writer provides details only the police knew. The number of shots, the position of the bodies, the brand of ammo. But that wasn't the scary part. Included in each envelope was 1/3 of a cipher. A grid of symbols. Greek letters, Morse code, astrological signs, weather symbols. The demand was simple. Print this cipher on the front page, or I will go on a kill rampage Friday night. I will cruise around and pick off people until I have killed a dozen over the weekend. Panic gripped the Bay Area. The newspapers had no choice. They printed the codes. Cipher killer threatens dozen, the headline screamed. People stayed home. Doors were locked. Guns were loaded. Everyone asked the same question. Who is he? The police chief, hoping to rattle the killer, went on TV. He looked into the camera and said, "We aren't sure this letter is real. We need more proof." Oh, he got his proof. August 4th. Another letter arrives at the San Francisco Examiner. The handwriting is the same, but the opening line has changed. 3 words that would become the most infamous introduction in criminal history. Echoing, whispered voice over, "This is the Zodiac speaking." He had a name now. He wasn't just a killer. He was a brand. The Zodiac. And he was mocking them. "I will not tell you my name," he wrote, "because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife." Slaves. Afterlife. This wasn't just murder anymore. This was a twisted religion. Meanwhile, in a quiet living room in Salinas, California, a high school history teacher named Donald Hardin and his wife Betty are staring at the newspaper. They're looking at the jumble of symbols. While the FBI's top cryptographers are scratching their heads, Betty notices something. She looks for patterns. Double letters. The word kill must be in there, right? They work for 20 hours straight. The coffee goes cold. The sun comes up. And then the code breaks. The letters start to form words. The words form sentences. The Hardins stare at the paper in horror. They have looked into the mind of the beast. The message reads, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." It was a manifesto of madness. But as the police read the translation, they realized something terrifying. The cipher was supposed to reveal his identity, but the last 18 letters were just jumbled. He lied. He gave them his motive, but he kept his name. The Zodiac was playing a game, and the score was about to change. Because he was done with the dark, lonely roads. He was buying a costume. He was sewing a hood, and he was heading to Lake Berryessa. September 27th, 1969. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon at Lake Berryessa. The sun is high. The water is sparkling. It's the kind of day where bad things aren't supposed to happen. The monsters are supposed to only come out at night, right? That's the rule. Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22, are relaxing on a picnic blanket. They are college students from Pacific Union College. They are young, intelligent, and in love with the world. They are isolated. They've chosen a spot on a small peninsula, surrounded by trees and water. It's private. Perfect. Cecilia sees him first. "There's a man," she whispers. "He's watching us." Brian looks up. He sees a figure standing in the trees about 500 yards away. Just a silhouette. "He's probably just a tourist," Brian says. He goes back to talking. He doesn't want to ruin the mood. But the man doesn't leave. He moves closer. Then he steps behind a large oak tree. He disappears for a moment. When he steps back out, the world tilts on its axis. The sunny afternoon turns into a fever dream. He isn't wearing hiking gear anymore. He is wearing a costume. A black executioner's hood, square and flat on top, drapes over his head and shoulders. It covers his face completely. On the chest, stitched in white tape, is a symbol. A circle, with a cross through it. The crosshair. The mark of the Zodiac. He looks like something out of a medieval dungeon, walking through a California park in broad daylight. In his hand, there is a gun. On his belt, a knife sheath over a foot long. Cecilia grips Brian's arm. He's got a gun. The figure stands over them. He speaks. His voice is deep, monotone. "Come. I want your money and your car keys. I want you to lie on your stomachs. Brian Hartnell tries to be rational. He's a sociology major. He thinks he can talk his way out of this. He thinks this is a robbery. Take the money, Brian says. Take the car. Just don't hurt us. The hooded man spins a story. He says he's an escaped convict from Deer Lodge, Montana. He says he killed a guard. He needs a car to get to Mexico. It's a lie, a script, but it works. It keeps him calm. He produces pre-cut lengths of plastic clothesline. He makes Cecilia tie Brian up first. Then he ties Cecilia up. He tightens the knots. Hard, cutting off the circulation. They are hog-tied on the picnic blanket. Vulnerable. Helpless. Brian is still talking. He's trying to connect with the man. You don't have to do this, Brian says. I can help you. The Zodiac pauses. He looks down at them. The Black Hood staring blankly at the blue sky. I'm going to have to stab you people, he says. Just like that. Matter of fact. Like he's talking about the weather. Brian doesn't believe it at first. I couldn't stand to see her stabbed, Brian says. Stab me first. The Zodiac obliges. He drops to his knees. He raises the knife. It's not a pocket knife. It's a bayonet. He plunges it into Brian's back. Again and again. 6 times. Brian plays dead. He holds his breath. He prays the monster stops. Then, the Zodiac turns to Cecilia. She is screaming. She is rolling away, fighting against the ropes. He strikes her with a frenzy. 10 times. The knife tearing through her clothes, her body. Silence falls over the lake again. The Zodiac stands up. He wipes the knife. He doesn't run. He walks. He walks back up the hill toward the road where Brian's white Karmann Ghia is parked. He isn't done yet. He needs to sign his work. He takes out a black marker. On the passenger door of the white car, he writes the dates of his kills. Vallejo, December 20th, 68, July 4th, 69, September 27th, 69, 6:30. By knife. And above it all, he draws the symbol, the crosshair. He is leaving a receipt for the police. Back down by the water, a miracle is happening. They are still alive. Brian manages to gnaw through Cecilia's ropes with his teeth. A fisherman and his son spot them. They hear the cries for help. We've been stabbed. Help us. Rangers arrive. An ambulance speeds through the winding roads. Cecilia Shepard is conscious. She describes the hood, the symbol, the voice. But the wounds are too deep. She slips into a coma and dies 2 days later. Brian Hartnell survives. He becomes the only person to look into the eyes of the Zodiac, or rather, the mask of the Zodiac, and live to tell the tale. An hour later, the phone rings at the Napa Police Department. The voice is familiar. I want to report a murder. No, a double murder. They are 2 miles north of park headquarters. They were in a white Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. The officer asks, "Where are you calling from?" There's a pause. A smirk you can almost hear through the receiver. I'm the one who did it. The police traced the call. It came from a payphone at a car wash in downtown Napa. They race to the scene. The phone is still dangling by its cord. And on the receiver, they find a palm print. A fresh, wet palm print. Is this it? Is this the mistake? They lift the print. They check the files. But the Zodiac is a ghost. The print matches no one. And he is done with the rural lakes. He is done with the lovers' lanes. He has proven he can kill anywhere. Now he wants a bigger stage. He is looking at the lights on the horizon. He is looking at San Francisco. And he is about to make his boldest move yet. October 11th, 1969. The Zodiac has evolved. He has graduated from the dark, rural lovers' lanes of Vallejo and the isolated shores of Lake Berryessa. He is done with the crickets and the silence. He is coming to the jungle. He is in San Francisco. It's a Saturday night in the theater district. The city is alive. Neon lights reflecting on wet pavement. People laughing, drinking, hailing cabs. Among them stand a figure. He looks normal. No hood, no costume. Just a man in a dark jacket, blending into the crowd. He raises a hand. A yellow cab pulls over. The driver is Paul Stine, 29 years old. He's a student, working nights to pay for his PhD. He's tired. It's just another fare. Where to? Washington and Maple, the passenger says. Presidio Heights. A wealthy, quiet neighborhood. The kind of place where people feel safe. The ride is short. The meter ticks. The tires hum over the steep hills of San Francisco. Paul Stine has no idea that the man sitting 3 feet behind him is the most wanted monster in California. They arrive at the intersection, but the passenger changes his mind. Pull up a little further, he says. Washington and Cherry. Paul drives 1 block further. He pulls to the curb. It is dark here. Shadowy trees line the street. The fog is rolling in thick, swallowing the streetlights. Paul puts the car in park. That'll be $2.95, he says, turning around to collect the fare. He doesn't see a wallet. He sees a 9mm semi-automatic. 1 shot, point blank to the right temple. Paul Stine slumps over onto the passenger seat. The meter is still running. The jazz music is still playing. In the previous attacks, the Zodiac struck and vanished. He was a blitz attacker, but tonight, he lingers. This is the most chilling part of the night. The killer doesn't run. He calmly opens the front door. He climbs into the front seat, pushing Paul's body aside. He takes the wallet. He takes the keys. And then, he takes a trophy. He takes out a knife. He grabs the back of Paul Stine's shirt, soaked in blood, and he tears a large rectangular strip from it. He folds the bloody fabric and puts it in his pocket. Why? Because he needs proof. He needs the world to know that he did this. He thinks he is alone. He isn't. Across the street, 3 teenagers are watching from an upstairs window. They see everything. They see the man wiping down the cab. They see him wiping the door handles, wiping the dashboard. He is erasing himself. The kids grab the phone. They call the police. There's a robbery in progress. A cab driver's been shot. This should have been the end. The police station is close. Patrol cars are swarming the area within minutes. The Zodiac is on foot. He is trapped in a residential grid. He has nowhere to go. But then, fate intervenes. A tragic, catastrophic error. A mistake. Maybe the dispatcher misheard the kids. Maybe in the chaos, wires got crossed. But the description goes out as a black male. The Zodiac is white. Officer Don Falk and Officer Eric Zelms are speeding toward the scene. They are looking for a black man. 2 blocks from the murder site, they see a man walking on the sidewalk. White male, heavy build, glasses, crew cut, wearing a dark jacket. He is calm. He isn't running. He's just walking his dog? No, just walking. Officer Falk slows down. He looks at the man. The man looks at him. They are 10 feet apart. If Falk stops him, the Zodiac case ends tonight. The gun is in his pocket. The bloody shirt is in his pocket. But the radio said black male. Falk waves him past. Maybe he even asks, "Have you seen anything suspicious?" And the Zodiac, with ice in his veins, points down the street. Yeah, a guy ran that way. The police car speeds off, chasing a phantom. The Zodiac turns the corner into the Presidio Park. He disappears into the fog. He walks away from the murder scene, past the sirens, past the chaos. He has just committed the perfect crime. Not because he was smart, but because he was lucky. Later that night, the mistake is realized. The teenagers give a detailed description. White male, glasses, crew cut. Officer Falk's blood runs cold. He realizes who he just let go. They create a composite sketch. It's the face we all know today. The face of a ghost. But it's too late. He is gone. For 2 days, the police think it was just a robbery gone wrong. A tragic but routine crime. Then, the letter arrives. The San Francisco Chronicle receives an envelope. Inside, there is a letter. This is the Zodiac speaking. "I am the murderer of the taxi driver over by Washington St. and Maple St. last night." The police read it and scoff. Yeah, right? Another nutcase claiming credit. But then, they look inside the envelope again. There is something else in there. A piece of cloth, soaked in dry blood. It matches the hole in Paul Stine's shirt perfectly. Panic explodes. The Zodiac isn't just killing kids in lovers' lanes. He is in the city. He is killing workers. He is walking past police officers. And in the letter, he makes a new threat. A threat that brings the city of San Francisco to its knees. "School children make nice targets," he writes. "I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire and then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out." The game has changed. He isn't just a killer anymore. He is a terrorist. October 1969. Imagine you're a parent in San Francisco. It's 7 a.m. You're making breakfast. The radio is on. And then the newsreader says it. The Zodiac Killer has threatened to attack a school bus. Your blood turns to ice. You look at your child, eating cereal, wearing their backpack. You have to put them on that yellow bus. You have to send them out into a city where an invisible monster is hunting. The Zodiac's letter was specific. He wasn't just going to shoot. He had a plan. Just shoot out the front tire, he wrote, and then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out. It is the most terrifying sentence ever written in the history of American crime. The city enters a state of siege. San Francisco doesn't look like a city anymore. It looks like a war zone. Police cars are tailing school buses. Armed officers are riding shotgun next to bus drivers. Helicopters circle overhead, scanning the rooftops for a sniper. Every tire blowout causes a panic. Every car backfiring causes a stampede. The Zodiac has achieved something few killers ever do. He hasn't just killed 5 people. He has paralyzed a population of 700,000. He is watching the chaos from his window, and he is laughing because he isn't done playing games. November 9th. Another letter arrives. This time it's not just words. It's a blueprint. He draws a diagram. It looks like something a mad scientist would sketch. A bomb. He explains how to build it with terrifying detail. Ammonium nitrate fertilizer, gravel, stove oil, a sunwatch trigger mechanism. He claims he has already built it. He claims it is hidden somewhere in the city. The police shall never catch me, he boasts, because I have been too clever for them. He mocks the police sketch, the one from the night Paul Stine died. He says it looks nothing like him. I look entirely different when I do my thing, he writes. I only look like the description when I do my thing. The rest of the time, I look completely normal. Think about that. Completely normal. He could be your neighbor, your mailman, the guy sitting next to you on the bus. And then, he drops the hammer. Another cipher. The first one, the 408, was cracked in a weekend by a high school teacher. The Zodiac was annoyed. He felt insulted. So, he designed a new one. The 340 cipher. 340 characters. It arrives in the mail, staring up at the detectives like a wall of hieroglyphics. The FBI puts their best minds on it. The Navy checks it. The NSA checks it. They run it through the supercomputers of the 1960s. Nothing. It is gibberish. It is chaos. The Hardens, the couple who cracked the first code, try again. They fail. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. The Zodiac taunts them. By the way, are the police having a good time with the code? If not, tell them to cheer up. When they do crack it, they will have me. It was a dare, but the 340 cipher would remain silent. The 60s ended. The 70s began. The 80s, the 90s. The code sat in the evidence locker, unread. Unsolved. A locked door with no key. While the police were distracted by bombs and codes, the Zodiac was getting restless. The city was too hot. Too many cops. He needed to go hunting again. But he needed a new strategy. He didn't want to stalk lovers' lanes anymore. He didn't want to hail a cab. He wanted to trick someone. He wanted to trap them in his world. March 22nd, 1970. Highway 132. A young mother named Kathleen Johns is driving alone at night. She has her baby daughter in the back seat. She is pregnant. She sees a car behind her. It flashes its lights. Once. Twice. She pulls over. A man walks up to her window. He is polite. He is wearing glasses. Your rear wheel is wobbling, he says. I can fix it for you. She trusts him. He is a good Samaritan, right? She gets out. He messes with the tire. That should do it, he says. She drives off, but the wheel doesn't hold. It almost falls off. The car is disabled. The man pulls up again. It looks like you have a problem, he says. Let me give you a ride to the gas station. Kathleen Johns, holding her baby, gets into the stranger's car. She has just walked into the lion's den. The door clicks shut. Kathleen Johns settles into the front passenger seat. Her infant daughter is in her arms, wrapped in a blanket. It's dark inside the car. The dashboard lights cast a faint, green glow on the driver's face. She looks at him. He seems nice enough. A little quiet. He's wearing a heavy jacket. Dark-rimmed glasses. Thank you so much, she says. I don't know what I would have done. He doesn't smile. He just nods. He puts the car in gear and pulls back on a Highway 132. The gas station is just up the road, she says. The ARCO station. He nods again. The car picks up speed. The white lines of the highway flash by like a strobe light. They approach the ARCO station. The lights are bright, inviting. Safety. Kathleen shifts in her seat. She prepares to get out. But the car doesn't slow down. It speeds up. The bright lights of the gas station flash past the window, and then they are gone, swallowed by the darkness behind them. Kathleen's heart skips a beat. You missed it, she says. That was the station. The driver stares straight ahead. His hands are tight on the wheel. Knuckles white. That one's closed, he mumbles. I know another one. A lie. The station was open. She saw the lights. But she doesn't want to argue. She's in a stranger's car. With her baby. She forces a smile. Okay. They drive for 5 minutes. 10 minutes. They pass another station. He drives right past it. Now, the cold reality sets in. The air in the car feels thick. Suffocating. Where are we going? She asks. Her voice trembles. He doesn't answer. He turns off the highway. He turns onto a dark, rural back road. No streetlights. No houses. Just fields of tall grass and the black sky. He stops the car at a stop sign. He turns to her. The polite mask falls off. You know, he says, his voice flat and dead. I'm going to kill you. It wasn't a scream. It was a promise. He says he's going to throw the baby out the window. He says he's going to kill her. But he doesn't attack immediately. He keeps driving. He is enjoying the terror. He is feeding on it. He drives aimlessly through the farm roads of Tracy, California. For 2 hours. 2 hours of hell. Every time she reaches for the door handle, he looks at her. Every time a car passes, he speeds up. She is trapped in a moving cage with a monster. But Kathleen Johns is a mother. And mothers fight. He slows down for another intersection. The car almost comes to a halt. This is it. It's now or never. She doesn't think. She acts. She clutches her baby tight against her chest. She unlocks the door. And she jumps. She hits the ground hard. Dust fills her mouth. Her knees scrape against the gravel. She doesn't look back. She scrambles into the darkness, into the tall grass of the field. She runs until her lungs burn. Then she drops to the ground. She covers her baby's mouth to keep her from crying. She lies there, freezing, trembling, waiting for the footsteps. The car stops. The driver gets out. Come out, he shouts. I know you're there. He shines a flashlight into the field. The beam sweeps over the grass. It passes inches above her head. She presses her face into the dirt. She prays. Please, please don't see us. He searches for 5 minutes. It feels like 5 years. Finally, he swears. He slams the car door. The engine roars. The tires screech. And he drives away. She waits until the sound of the engine is completely gone. Then, she runs to the road. A truck driver stops. He sees a terrified woman covered in dirt, holding a baby. He takes her to the police station in Patterson. She is safe. She is shaking. She is drinking coffee in the station, trying to explain what happened. He wore glasses, she says. He was heavy-set. He was calm. She looks around the room. Her eyes land on a wall nearby. There's a poster hanging there. A wanted poster. It's the composite sketch from the Paul Stine murder in San Francisco. The face with the crew cut. The glasses. Kathleen drops her coffee cup. She points a shaking finger at the wall. That's him, she screams. That's the man. That's the man who had me in his car. The officers freeze. They look at the poster. They look at her. The Zodiac wasn't just in San Francisco. He wasn't just in Vallejo. He was drifting. He was everywhere. But the police had a name now. A suspect was rising to the surface. A man who lived nearby. A man who wore heavy boots. A man who loved to hunt. His name was Arthur Leigh Allen, and he was about to become the most investigated suspect in American history. 1971. The Zodiac investigation is drowning. There are 2,500 suspects. Everyone has a neighbor they think is the killer. Everyone has a weird uncle. The police are chasing shadows. They need a name. They need a face. And then a tip comes in. It comes from a friend of a man named Arthur Leigh Allen. The friend says, you need to look at this guy. He talks about killing people. He talks about hunting them. Detective Jack Mullinox brings Arthur Leigh Allen in for an interview. The room is small. Smells like stale coffee and cigarette smoke. Allen walks in. He is a big man, heavy set, bald, but he wears a wig sometimes. He has a face that looks like a thumb, but it's his demeanor that chills the detectives. He isn't nervous. He isn't sweating. He is enjoying this. He sits down. He looks at his watch. The detective's eyes drop to Allen's wrist. He is wearing a watch, a very specific brand, a dive watch. The brand name on the dial is Zodiac. And the logo? A crosshair, a circle with a cross through it. The exact same symbol the killer draws on his letters. The exact same symbol he wore on his chest at Lake Berryessa. The detective asks, "Why do you wear that watch?" Allen shrugs. "I like the name." The interview continues. It gets stranger. Allen admits he was in the area of Lake Berryessa on the day of the attack. "I was there," he says, "but I was just looking to scuba dive." Scuba dive? In a reservoir? On the bloody day of the stabbing? They ask him about the bloody knives. "Oh yeah," Allen says, "I have knives. I had a bloody knife in my car that day, but it was chicken blood. I killed a chicken for dinner." Chicken blood. The detectives are staring at him. Is he confessing, or is he mocking them? Then, the friend's testimony comes back to haunt them. Years earlier, Allen had allegedly told his friend's story. A story about a book he loved. The Most Dangerous Game. A book about a man who hunts humans on an island because animals are too boring. Allen had said, "I want to do that. I want to hunt people. I'll call myself the Zodiac." This conversation happened before the killing started. The police raid his trailer in Santa Rosa. It is a house of horrors. They find pipe bombs. They find guns. They find a disturbing obsession with children. They find boots. Wing walker boots. Size 10.5. The exact same size and type as the footprints found at Lake Berryessa. It's him. It has to be him. Dave Toschi, the lead detective from San Francisco, the man who the movie Bullet was based on, is convinced. He feels in his gut. "He's the guy," Toschi whispers. "He's the guy." They have circumstantial evidence. They have a psychological profile. They have the watch. They have the location. They are ready to put the handcuffs on him. They are ready to end the nightmare. There's just one problem. One tiny scientific problem. Handwriting. The Zodiac wrote more letters than almost any serial killer in history. We have a script. We know exactly how he writes the letter R, the letters. They take a sample of Arthur Leigh Allen's handwriting. They put it next to the Zodiac letters. The experts look at it. They squint. They measure the slant. It's not a match. It's not even close. Allen is right-handed. The Zodiac, some experts believed, might be ambidextrous, but the handwriting just doesn't fit. Then, fingerprints. The bloody print on Paul Stine's cap. The palm print on the phone at Napa. They compare them to Allen's hands. No match. The DNA from the stamp. Decades later, they would check it. No match. The detectives are screaming internally. How can everything fit so perfectly? But science says no. Is Allen a genius? Did he dictate the letters to someone else? Did he use a prosthetic hand? Or is he just the unluckiest man in the world, coincidentally doing everything the Zodiac did? Allen smiles at them as he leaves the station. He knows they can't touch him. He isn't arrested. He walks out the front door. Free. The investigation hits a brick wall. The years start to roll by. 1974, 1975, 1978. The letters stop coming. The phone stops ringing. The Zodiac vanishes into the fog. Did he die? Did he go to prison for something else? Or did he just stop? The detectives who hunted him, Toschi, Armstrong, Mulinox, they start to burn out. Ulcers, divorces, alcohol. The Zodiac didn't just kill 5 people. He killed the careers and the souls of the men who try to catch him. And then, just when they thought it was over, a final letter arrives. But this one is different. It doesn't talk about slaves. It doesn't talk about bombs. It talks about a movie. The letter praises the film The Exorcist. It calls it the best satirical comedy that I have ever seen. Comedy. He thinks a movie about a possessed child is a comedy. And at the bottom of the page, he keeps the score. Me equals 37. SFPD equals 0. 37 victims? The police only confirmed 5. 5 dead, 2 injured. But the Zodiac claims 37. Are there bodies out there we never found? Hitchhikers buried in the Nevada desert? Runaways dumped in the Sierra Mountains? The number hangs over the city like a dark cloud. And then silence. Absolute silence. Decades pass. The internet was invented. DNA technology evolves. The case becomes a legend, a myth, until the year 2020, when three amateur code breakers, a web designer from Virginia, a mathematician from Australia, and a programmer from Belgium, decide to take one last look at the 340 cipher, the uncrackable code. They don't use pen and paper. They use a supercomputer. And on a quiet Saturday morning in December, the computer spits out a sentence. The ghost is about to speak one last time. The 1970s dragged on. The summer of love was dead. The era of paranoia had fully set in. And the Zodiac? He had become a ghost story. A boogeyman used to scare children into coming home before dark. But for the men hunting him, he wasn't a story. He was a cancer. Inspector Dave Toschi, the man with the bow tie, the man who wore his gun upside down in a shoulder holster. He was the most famous cop in America. Hollywood loved him. Steve McQueen played him in Bullet. Clint Eastwood channeled him in Dirty Harry. But the Zodiac didn't care about Hollywood. The Zodiac was destroying Dave Toschi from the inside out. Every time a phone rang, Toschi hoped it was him. Every time a letter arrived, he prayed for a mistake. But the letters stopped coming. The silence was deafening. And in that silence, madness began to grow. 9 years since the last confirmed murder. Suddenly, a letter arrives. Dear editor, this is the Zodiac speaking. The city held its breath. He's back. But something was wrong. The handwriting looked forced. The tone was off. Experts analyzed it. And then a bombshell dropped. It wasn't the Zodiac. Accusations started flying. A whisper campaign began in the halls of the Hall of Justice. They said Dave Toschi wrote it. Can you imagine the humiliation? The hero cop, accused of forging a letter from the monster he couldn't catch, just to get back in the spotlight? Toschi denied it until his dying day. But the damage was done. He was demoted. He was taken off the homicide detail. He was sent to work in the pawn shop detail. The Zodiac had claimed another victim. He didn't use a gun. He used a rumor. Dave Toschi's career died, leaving the killer, whoever he was, laughing in the shadows. 1992. The police are circling back to Arthur Leigh Allen. New evidence. A survivor from a 1969 attack. Michael Mageau points to a photo lineup. He points to Allen's face. That's him, he says. That's the man who shot me. Detectives are energized. They are ready to charge him. They are ready to bring him in. But life is not a movie. There is no final showdown. Before they can knock on his door, Arthur Leigh Allen collapses on the floor of his home in Vallejo. Heart attack. He dies instantly. The prime suspect is dead. The secrets in his head are buried with him. The police search his house again. They find a videotape labeled Z. They pop it into the VCR, hands shaking. Is this the confession? It's just a home video. Nothing. The universe was mocking them. The 90s pass. The 2000s begin. The filing cabinets are dusty. The witnesses are dying of old age. But science is waking up. DNA. In 2002, the San Francisco Police Department decides to try one last Hail Mary. They go to the evidence locker. They pull out the envelopes the Zodiac licked. They pull out the stamps he pressed with his thumb. They extract a partial DNA profile. It's not much, but it's enough to rule people out. They run it against Arthur Leigh Allen's tissue sample preserved from his autopsy. The world watches. Is the ghost finally unmasked? It's not a match. Arthur Leigh Allen was not the Zodiac. Or was he? Was the DNA on the stamp from the killer? Or was it from the postman? Or a clerk? Or did the Zodiac just use a sponge? The answer provided no clarity. Only more fog. The case went cold. Absolutely absolute zero. The Zodiac had won. He had committed the perfect crimes, taunted the world, and vanished. But he made one mistake. He left a puzzle behind. The 340 cipher. He thought he was smarter than the police. And he was. He thought he was smarter than the FBI. And he was. But he didn't account for the future. He didn't account for three nerds with a supercomputer in the year 2020. For 51 years, the code sat on a shelf. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That's what he said in the first letter. But in December 2020, a message flashed across a screen in Virginia. then in Australia, then in Belgium. The gibberish started to shift. The symbols started to align. The lock was breaking. The Zodiac was about to speak from the grave. December 2020. The world is in lockdown. A pandemic has forced everyone inside. But in the digital realm, 3 men are hunting. They aren't detectives. They aren't FBI agents. David Oranchak is a web designer from Virginia. He has been obsessed with the Zodiac's 340 cipher for 15 years. Sam Blake is a mathematician from Australia. Jarl van Eyck is a warehouse operator and coding genius for Belgium. They are united by one thing: the belief that the code isn't gibberish, that there's a voice trapped inside the ink. For decades, everyone failed because they assumed the Zodiac wrote normally, left to right, top to bottom. But Sam Blake had an idea. What if he didn't write it like a book? What if he wrote it diagonally? They feed this theory into a program called A's Decrypt, written by Van Eyck. They run the simulation. Not once, not twice, 650,000 times. The computer churns through the possibilities. It screams through millions of permutations. And then, on a quiet Saturday morning, the screen freezes. David Oranchak looks at the output. Usually, it's just random letters. XQLPR. But this time, he sees words. Real words. Hope you are trying to catch me. His heart stops. He types a message to the others. I think we have something. They work feverishly. They are peeling back the layers of a 50-year-old onion. The Zodiac didn't just scramble the letters. He split the message into chunks. He rearranged the columns. It was a masterpiece of obfuscation. It was a puzzle designed to survive the 20th century. But it couldn't survive the 21st. Slowly, the full message appears. The FBI couldn't crack it. The NSA couldn't crack it. But these 3 guys just did. They send the solution to the FBI Cryptanalysis Unit. The FBI confirms it. It's real. The world leans in. This is it. This is the moment. Does he say, "My name is Arthur"? Does he say, "My name is Earl"? The message is read aloud. The voice of the Zodiac returns. Distorted. Cold. Echoing from the past. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me not being afraid of the gas chamber. The listener's hearts sink. It's not a confession. It's a taunt. He is mocking a call-in show from 1969 where a fake Zodiac called in saying he was scared of the electric chair. The real Zodiac wanted to set the record straight. The voice continues. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. Because I now have enough slaves to work for me, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise death. The voice fades into a low, ominous rumble. That's it. That's the message. No name. No coordinates to a body. No, I live at 123 Main Street. Just the rambling delusions of a narcissist obsessed with his own mythology. He spelled paradise wrong. P-R-A-D-I-C. He was trolling us. Even from 1969, he was trolling us in 2020. The code was solved. The mystery of what it said was over. But the mystery of who said it remained. The victory was bitter. We heard his voice, but we still didn't see his face. However, the cracking of the code did one thing. It proved that the Zodiac was meticulous. He wasn't crazy. He was calculating. And if he was that careful with his puzzles, maybe he was that careful with his life. Maybe he didn't die young. Maybe he didn't go to prison. Maybe he just got old. There is a theory that has gained traction in the last few years. The Case Breakers team. They claim they know who he is. They claim he didn't die of a heart attack in 1992 like Allen. They claim he lived a long, quiet life in the Sierra foothills. They claim they found his picture, and on his forehead were the scars that match the sketch. His name was Gary, and we are about to open the final file. 2021. The world is still reeling from the solving of the 340 cipher. But then, a group of investigators, former FBI, retired cops, military intelligence, known as the Case Breakers, steps forward. They say, "We found him." They aren't talking about Arthur Leigh Allen. They aren't talking about the usual suspects. They are pointing a finger at a man who had never been on the radar. A man who lived a quiet life in the Sierra foothills. A house painter. His name was Gary Poste. They open his darkroom. They find photos. Gary in the 60s. Dark hair. Glasses. Heavy build. He looks like the sketch. But that's not the smoking gun. The case breakers zoom in on the forehead. Look at the police sketch from 1969. The artist drew distinctive lines on the Zodiac's forehead. Maybe wrinkles? Maybe a frown? No. The case breakers say they are scars. They pull up a photo of Gary Poste. There, on his forehead, are scars from a car accident in 1959. They match the sketch. Perfectly. The kind of detail a witness would see, but couldn't explain. They dig deeper. They claim an anagram in one of the letters reveals his name. They claim he gave away guns to his friends before he died. Guns that match the caliber used in the murders. Witnesses say he had a violent temper. That he led a posse of young men in the woods. That he killed animals for fun. It fits. It all fits. The internet explodes. Is this him? Is Gary Poste the Zodiac? But there's a problem. The FBI doesn't comment. The police don't confirm it. And Gary Poste? We can't ask him. Gary Poste died in 2018. He died an old man. Free. If he was the Zodiac, he won. He beat the game. He lived his entire life with the darkest secret in American history tucked inside his head, and he took it to the grave. So where does that leave us? The file remains open. The official status is still unsolved. Arthur Leigh Allen is dead. Gary Poste is dead. The victims are dead. But the Zodiac, he is immortal. He isn't just a killer anymore. He is a myth. He is the American Jack the Ripper. Jack had the fog of London. The Zodiac had the neon of California. Think about what he did to us. Before the Zodiac, we didn't look in the back seat before getting in the car. Before the Zodiac, we let our kids play outside until the streetlights came on. Before the Zodiac, we trusted the dark. He changed the DNA of fear. He created the template for the modern supervillain. The riddles, the costumes, the media manipulation. Every movie serial killer, from say Seven unto the Batman, has a little bit of the Zodiac in them. He wanted to be remembered. I am waiting for a good movie about me, he wrote in a letter. He got his wish. He got movies. He got books. He got podcasts. He got us. We're still talking about him. We're still obsessed. Somewhere, in a box in an evidence locker, there's a hood. Somewhere, there's a piece of Paul Stine's shirt. And somewhere, buried in the earth, are the hands that tied the knots and pulled the trigger. Did he feel remorse at the end? Or did he die laughing? The phone lines at the Vallejo Police Department are silent now. But if you listen closely to the wind on Lake Herman Road or the rustling leaves at Lake Berryessa, you can still feel him. He is the shadow in the headlights. He is the stranger in the parked car. He is the silence after the scream. This is the Zodiac speaking. This was the story about the Zodiac Killer. Do let us know what do you think about it in the comments section. If you do like our video, please hit the thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button to never miss an update from us. Thanks for watching the video. See you in the next one. Until then, goodbye. Stay safe. Stay healthy.